Hi guys, and welcome to a book haul. This one is for the ebooks that I got in the month of January. Here we go. I have only 6, so I thought that's pretty good. There was one, I believe, that I bought. So let me grab that one. So there's actually 7 ebooks to tell you about. Okay, so I actually have 7. One of these I got when I was doing my February Catwalk TBR. I purchased right then and there because I found that there was this book that I pulled out of my TBR jar that was actually part of a series. I have since been told by someone that watched that video that every book in the True Colors series is completely separate. You can read them. You do not have to read them in order. So, but I committed to reading the first book in the series, which is called The White City, before I knew that. So, and just to, this year I am keeping track of series that I have ongoing, so I may just continue to read them in order just to keep track of where I am, just to make it a little easier on myself. But I have been told you do not need to read them in any order. Knowing myself, I will want to read them in order. So that is my own thing. I have trouble going outside of order a lot of the times, but I don't know, we'll see. Sometimes I'm okay with that. But I found it free on Amazon and not part of Kindle Unlimited. It was just on a sale where it was free. So I was very happy about that. So I did get, so it's the True Colors series. It looks like there's 12 books in the actual series, at least for right now. And the first book, and they're all by different authors. From what it looked, yeah, they're all by different authors. Some of them kind of reappear. For example, the one that wrote this book has another book in the series by scrolling through. Yeah, has another book in this series that the author wrote. So the first book is called The White City, and this is by Grace Hitchcock. So this is a historical fiction. It's mystery. It does say, it's also tagged as Christian fiction, romance, true crime, but I haven't, the person that said that you can read them in any order say it's all based as well on true crimes that happened in America, throughout America in different cities. So this one, this is what the synopsis said for The White City. Mysterious disappearances taint the Chicago World's Fair. Step into True Colors, a new series of historical stories of romance and American crime. While attending the Chicago World's Fair in 1893, Winifred Wilde believes she witnessed a woman being kidnapped. She tries to convince her father, an inspector with the Chicago police, to look into reports of mysterious disappearances around the White City. Inspector Wilde tries to dismiss her claims as exaggeration of an overactive imagination, but he eventually concedes to letting her go undercover as secretary to the man in question, if she takes her pistol for protection and Jude Thorpe, a policeman, for bodyguard. Will she be able to expose H.H. Holmes' illicit activity, or will Winifred become his next victim? I think that sounds really good. Granted, I got a bit tongue-tied with that synopsis. So that is the only book that I sought out to obtain for the month of January as far as ebooks go. These next 6 books I will talk about actually all won from Goodreads giveaways. So I spent $0 on ebooks, so I'm very pleased with that. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into these 6. Now, this video is the first time I will be reading any synopsis for these ones that I won from Goodreads. I don't read the synopsis when I enter the contests on Goodreads. I just enter based on author, if I know the author, title, and what the cover looks like. That's it. So this will be the first time. So I am finding out with you what the synopsis for these books are. Unless you already know, then you're ahead of me in that particular aspect, but let's just find out together what these are. Okay, so the first one I'll talk about is called Chigger Lives Here. This is by Michael Handy. As far as tags, there are no tags on here, but the synopsis, it says, Chigger is the bad one, and it's time for him to take his medicine. Our narrator awakens in Smithfield Mental Health Care Facility after a failed suicide attempt has left him with nearly total memory loss. Under the care of staff psychiatrist Dr. Laurie, the narrator adopts the alias Sam and begins regular therapy sessions in hope of recovering his true identity. Sam soon discovers that he does have some recall, but only from the violent and traumatic childhood he endured with his unruly sibling, remembered only by the nickname Chigger. The more Sam remembers about his troubled childhood, the stranger things become at Smithfield. Sam begins to question his own sanity when he finds himself haunted by a malevolent adult version of Chigger. With the help of a fellow patient named Christy, Sam begins to uncover the truth behind Smithfield and why it seems Chigger is intent on tormenting him from beyond the grave. Yeah. Let's see, what's the tagline on this? It says, some memories have the power to wake the dead. So, yeah, okay, sounds pretty good. And that one looks like it's a standalone. I'll let you know if these ones are part of a series. Okay, this next one is part of a series. At least when I pulled it up, it did say, it says Fae Academia #1. But when I go in for more details, it gives you the impression that it's a standalone. So I'm not positive on this one. This is a fantasy. It's called Bedlam Academy by Kathy Haan. H-A-A-N. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Let's see what this one is. It says, Rose gets her long-awaited invite to attend a magical university on the island of Academia. But what happens when she ends up at a different academy from those she knows and trusts in a co-ed dorm room? She's thrust into a world of dark magic, temptation at every turn, and a threat she can't protect herself from because first-year students aren't supposed to use their magic. And when she's caught trying, she's made to wear a magic suppression necklace. Can her roommate and his friends protect her? And what if the threat hits a little closer to home? Let's see, it says that Bedlam, okay, so I might need to do a little research into this. If you know the following information, please let me know in the comment section below. It says Bedlam Academy is a spin-off of the Bedlam Moon trilogy. Oh, and this just answers my own question as far as if I have to read that trilogy before this one. It says, while you don't have to read, this answers my question, while you don't have to read the Bedlam Moon trilogy to understand this new series, it may provide context you'll appreciate. So in other words, it is encouraged to read the Bedlam Moon trilogy. So let me go to the Amazon website and see just what it would be. Okay, so Bedlam Moon, it says a Y choice paranormal romance. So this is obviously part of a series and it's on Kindle Unlimited. So I will just sign in. So it looks like it's about $6. Okay, I've obtained a copy of it. So now I'm going to go, okay, now I'm going to find out what the synopsis is of Bedlam Moon. I don't know if I'm going to read the full synopsis. I don't know. I only have, so this is the 8th book that I got for the month, but it's on Kindle Unlimited. So I'm, okay, pretty good, pretty pleased with that. I do have Kindle Unlimited. I just don't use it that often because I'm mostly reading physical books. I really do want to use that more, so I don't feel like I'm wasting my money on that. So the synopsis for Bedlam Moon, again, also by Kathy Haan, This is a fated mate reverse harem paranormal romance. Expect a fast-paced insta-love with one harem member and a slow burn for the others. Sexy vampire royalty, curses, an evil cult, and ancient prophecies all stand in the way of Laura figuring out why her mom vanished 26 years ago. Do her answers lie in the Fae realm? She thought she had seen the world. She had no idea the Fae would have a world of their own. 34-year-old Lena Chapman Sawyer has an MBA, 0 student loan debt, a successful travel blog, and curves for days. What she doesn't have is a family. Lena's mother vanished when she was only 8. Her father was never in the picture, and her adoptive parents died in a car accident when she was 30, leaving her orphaned once again. Is it really you being orphaned when you're a full-grown adult, though? I don't know. While Lena receives a strange package with a magical key in the mail, she decides to take it to her cabin, deep in the northern woods of Minnesota, the very place where her mother abandoned her. Little does she know the neighborhood is not exactly as she remembers it. Osgood Finlandian is your average next-door multi-billionaire humanitarian and businessman. He just so happens to be a 5,500-year-old vampire. So 5,500-year-old vampire. And not just any vampire. He's the first vampire ever created. The king of vampires who rules over the royal court. He's also the one to tell Lena about Bedlam, the Fae realm, and the locked witch powers she never knew she had. But unbinding her powers is only the beginning. Oz, who has a dark past of his own, promises to help Lena uncover the mystery behind her mother's disappearance, and the two of them take on several quests, all the while facing ancient prophecies, recurring dreams, an obsessed witch, and an evil cult hot on Lena's trail. It might be Lana. Hot on Lana's tail. I'm saying Lena, but it's actually, I think, Lana. Too bad Lana has has to navigate her way through irresistible desires in the process. I don't know how I'm going to feel about that, but I'll give it a try. We'll see. So let me mark that on that I have that downloaded to my Kindle. So anyway, okay. Moving on. All right, this next one looks like is a standalone. This is Vise Manor by Danielle Verastiqui. No idea how to say that. I'll find out. I'll try and get an audiobook or Google it to see how to say it, but it's, yeah. Okay, so looks like it's a standalone. Again, it's called Vise Manor. The cover is definitely interesting. So it says, eccentric tech billionaire Winston Vise has invited 8 guests to his secluded home in the New York countryside. His mission to find investors and buyers for his new line of artificially intelligent synthetic humans. After a lavish evening of drinking and feasting, Winston takes the stage in the conservatory to begin his pitch. But when the demonstration takes a sharp turn into murder, his prospective investors find themselves trapped in the sprawling manor with a killer and no way to call for help. The doors open automatically at sunrise. Will there be anyone left to see it? Brimming with veiled looks, dirty secrets, and augmented violence, Vise Manor is a cyberpunk murder mystery sure to delight fans of William Gibson, Richard K. Morgan, and Agatha Christie. So, sci-fi mystery, cyberpunk, because that's what it says right there in the synopsis. So, sounds pretty good. I'm actually intrigued with that one. Okay, so this next one looks like it's also a standalone, and that is Visions of Johanna by Peter Sarno. And this one, all it says is fiction. That's the only tag on Goodreads so far. And this one, the synopsis says, Johanna, an artist, and Matt, a music critic, couldn't be more different. But by a simple twist of fate, she plucks him from a crowd at a Dylan concert. What follows is a heady and intense relationship buffeted by the usual suspects that gently rocked the 80s. Matt's lessons in art, as well as life, at the hands of Johanna, drive the novel into pockets of feminism and quiet revolution. All of this is tempered by deeply held traumatic secrets that torque their intimacy. Yet it's Revere, and not Boston, that remains one of the underlying attractions and visions of Johanna. This North Shore backdrop brings Matt into full focus. A child in a city of recent immigrants, life by the ocean, the billowous flavor of the mob are just some of the elements rendered in skillful detail. Johanna, a renegade from Wisconsin, freewheeling and hyper-energized, draws Matt out of his comfort zone and into her world. A meditation on art and unrest, Visions of Johanna celebrates life, love, memory, and the undying power of the deep connections that sustain us. It says the novel follows Johanna and Matt as they pursue their dreams and paint and to write, but burdening problems collide with these artistic desires and other forces conspire against them. Ultimately, the two are done in by their inability to share aspects of their past they believe they must hide from. It travels through time and social unrest to the final moment hinted at in the prologue. It says, within this book's pages, tragedies haunt, acts of moral goodness manifest themselves, and benevolence reigns with a finality that absolves all. So, I don't know if it's contemporary, historical fiction, I just know it's fiction. Alright, so this next one is book 0, or aka it is the prequel in a series. And what is the series called? The series is called Lucy, it looks like. This was written by Kev Freeman, and the title of this particular book is Lucy and the True Grimoire. Birch and Kane Mystery Detective Prequel. The only tag showing up on Goodreads is that this is a mystery. Okay, so I know nothing about this one, obviously, as I've said before in this video. Okay, the synopsis says, this fantasy horror detective novelette, so it's a short story, that's good, is the prequel to the case of Lucy Rising, the first book in the Birch and Kane detective series. Okay, so there's some information there. The personal journal of tattooist Greg Bentley, who, after a late night visit by a mysterious young woman, becomes embroiled in a fantasy world in modern-day London. The document, later taken into evidence, tells the story of how the strange Lucy uses her knowledge of angels obtained through the book of the True Grimoire to call upon the 17 angels in service of her master. The True Grimoire is the Handbook of Magic, a manual of incantations and methodologies, which set in place the manifestation of energies willing to participate in the expansion of the Dark Kingdom. Detectives Birch and Kane will come across this evidence of the calling of angels and how their connection to human form is established. For now, each of the called continue with their normal life, placing themselves in positions of authority until they are required to act on behalf of the organization. The Birch and Kane detective series follows the events as they occur in present-day London, a short story horror fantasy thriller featuring references to the Bible of occult processes. The True Grimoire, The Calling of Angels and Black Magic, an urban occult suspense fantasy set in the heart of London, a demonic British and Irish history story. That sounds pretty good. Okay, I am excited for that. But obviously if I like that, then I'm going to want to read the official first book in that series. So, yeah, I think it sounds pretty good. Alright, this next one is also the first book in a series. And the title of the first book and the name of the series are the same, and that is Immortal Chemistry. This is by Sarah Saponaria. I know, I'm saying these wrong. I know it. This one just tells me on Goodreads that it's a fantasy and a paranormal. I love the paranormal aspects in books. Okay. The synopsis says, saving the man she loves means cursing him for eternity. Orinda Hudson hates being a demon. Determined to cure her vampirism, she spent 200 years studying the science of immortality. By 1918, the renowned scientist takes pride in her work at a top-secret military lab and is on the verge of a breakthrough when Officer Basil Myers is stationed to work alongside her, interrupting her research with his infectious smile and the way he makes her skin tingle. Officer Basil Myers loved Orinda before he even met her. As a fellow researcher, he admired Orinda's work from afar, but when he finally sees her, he becomes completely entranced by the mysterious allure in her eyes. He senses a deep sadness there too, and longs to be the one to bring her happiness. Just when Basil thinks he's tearing down Orinda's walls, he's called to fight in World War I. Orinda agonizes over the news, realizing she loves the quirky soldier. She grapples with the fact that she could make him immortal to protect him, but would have to tell him the truth about what she is, and worse, curse him forever. Will Orinda change Basil into a vampire and risk losing his love, or let him go to war as a mortal and risk losing his life? Immortal Chemistry is the enthralling first book in the Immortal Chemistry series. It says, if you like slow burn romance, seeing the nice guy get the girl, and edge of your seat twists and turns, then you'll love Sarah Saponaria's I'm going to have to look at that. You'll love the High Stakes Vampire Saga. So I don't know how long that's going to take, but I am happy that it is a vampire book. Vampires are my favorite monster, so I am very intrigued by that. So I thought I was just going to tell you about 6 books, ended up being 7 until I found out that it's suggested to read the Bedlam Moon series before the Bedlam Academy, and the fact that I was able to get that for free on Kindle Unlimited, I ended up telling you about 8 books here, getting one right in front of you. So yeah, that's all the ebooks that I've acquired for the month of January. Please let me know if you've read any of these books that are mentioned, or any books by any of these authors. Let me know what you thought of them in the comment section below, and just talk to me about whatever you want. And until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book. And I'll talk to you later.